Oh no, with an episode this creepy with that title, that happy sounding bleepy bloopy synth note isn't going to cut it. Here, let me play a more fitting sound effect.
Steven!
Hello everybody and welcome to Nightmare Hospital. This episode was truly great and I think you'll enjoy it.
Today's episode of Steven Universe is brought to you by Steven and Connie's adorable friendship with each other.
Relationship.
It seems like whenever these two get an episode, it always turns out to be a success. There's just something about the two of them that really stands out. I think part of that has to do with the fact that, in many ways, Connie is in exactly the same position as Steven. They're both humans, or in Steven's case, part human, and the both of them are partially clueless as far as gem stuff goes. So having them both stumble into gem-related accidents can lead interesting places.
Especially when Dr. Maheshwaran is involved.
And speaking of
Hi, Dr. Maheshwaran.
What now?
Dr. Maheshwaran.
And speaking of Dr. Mississippi River, there's the fact that Connie has been struggling to keep all this magical stuff a secret from her parents, which is also a neat place for the show to go. This episode actually expands upon that idea. Let's do this.
So the episode starts out with Steven dropping Connie off at her home. They use Lion, of course, and Steven actually gives Connie his mother's sword to practice with. And I really like how they took the time to give the mother actual traditional Indian clothing in this picture. It just shows how much attention to detail they have. But the sweet moment with Steven and Connie is ruined when Connie's mother actually comes home. They quickly hide the sword as a coat rack, and Dr. Maheshwaran catches on immediately. Steven and Connie, when they're lying about that sword not being there, is a perfect representation of both of their lifestyles. Connie is super good at lying in this strict home, and Steven basically doesn't know how to do any of that since he lives in such a loose home.
There was a really strange case at the hospital today. Straight out of a nightmare.
I just love that line. The moment the lighting dims down and the scary music starts, the sudden realization hits that this isn't going to just be another fun adventure like a lot of Steven and Connie episodes are. This episode's going to try and be creepy.
And it is, as a matter of fact. Dr. Maheshwaran takes the sword back to the hospital, where she has a new patient waiting for her.
She never, ever changes her mind.
Wait, so she never ever changes her mind about anything? How do you manage to do that? Eventually you're bound to make a mistake somewhere. Is Dr. Mahogany Table the kind of person that still believes celebrity rumors long after they've been cleared up?
Over-exaggerations, Cobalt. They are used. Get used to it.
Comedic exaggerations, Leia. They're also used. Get used to it.
Nobody makes comedic exaggerations about exaggerations. It's an endless loop. Just don't do it.
Oh, I can exaggerate anything I want. It could cause exaggerationception for all I care.
We already have memeception. We don't need that too.
The two enter the hospital, and here's where the music and sound design really start to shine. Between the eerie, low-pitched droning and the occasional bursts of noise, it really creates a creepy atmosphere as Steven and Connie sneak through the hospital.
They arrive outside of one of the hospital rooms, where Dr. Maheshwaran takes the person on the stretcher's pulse. She actually doesn't find one, and leaves the room to go get a better stethoscope.
Steven and Connie head into the room and take the sword back, but Dr. Miss Harshwini comes back in and finds them. They step out of the room, but find another patient in the hall. Only this doesn't look like a human.
It happens to be one of the clusters, or gem experiments, or gem mutants, whatever you want to call them.
We gotta be ready if we have to fight Malachite or those creepy gem fusion experiments.
Foreshadow much?
They hide in the other patient's room, and Connie tries to get Dr. Mount Kilimanjaro to give her the sword. She won't listen though, reminding her that she never goes back on a rule.
I think it's the same music they used in Keeping It Together. And it fits perfectly here as well.
The patient bursts from the bed.
Apparently, Dr. Maheshwaran considers something with no head, like 5 arms, and some really messed up legs as a patient. And don't even get me started on not having a pulse. I feel bad for the person who had to squeeze that thing into a hospital gown.
As the three get backed into a corner, Steven makes a bubble, keeping them safe for the moment. He tells Dr. Melakaliki Maka that Connie has been training and learning how to use a sword properly. Of course, this shocks her. She claims that she knows what Connie is doing every second of every day.
Even though she actually doesn't. Connie and her mom get into a large argument about whether or not they know each other. And while Dr. Maheshwaran is really confused about what Connie is saying, she snatches the sword and Steven drops the bubble.
Drop the bubble.
At least she didn't tell him to drop the bass. One cartoon dubstep montage was enough, thank you very much.
Ready? Drop it.
Steven and Connie defeat the cluster gems in a really awesome scene and leave the building. Connie and her mom make up, and it's a really sweet moment. Steven also hugs his mother's sword after they say I love you. Don't hurt the cinnamon bun! Don't do it!
You know what's really brilliant about this? There are probably kids in real life who are also afraid of talking to their parents about their life, and they'd really be able to identify with Connie in this episode. And the idea that it's possible for a child and parent to both set themselves on even ground when it comes to activities outside of home is a message I think they'll be glad to hear.
I would give this episode a 5 out of 5. It had a great message, as Cobalt just mentioned, and also it brought back a lot of great memories from past episodes. They even reused some of the music, and we finally got to see more of the gem clusters. We now actually have more information on them, in a way, and they also twist the plot in such a unique and interesting form that you just do not want to have the episode end. Though, when it does, we get a lot of character development and a really sweet moment.
This episode actually manages to slip in some really nice dramatic tension, with both the quiet, dark emptiness of the hospital and the menacing nature of the mutated gem experiments. It also did great things with the characters and proves once again that Connie seems to work magic on pretty much every episode she's in. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. It was entertaining and heartfelt, but there's still one question left on my mind. If the hospital had gem mutants inside of it, what if there are other hospitals in the area that are also being sent these things? Or maybe I'm just crazy.
You're just crazy. Thank you one and all for watching. We hope to see you in the next one. Adios!
Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. It's a scary world out there. Mother knows best. One way or another, something will go wrong, I swear. Ruffians, thugs, poison ivy, quicksand, cannibals and snakes. The plague. No. Yes, also large
Gem mutants.
men with pointy teeth. And stop no more, you'll just upset